5, 16, 19, 21, 30, 3 and 10. Check results. You remember?
Podcast today. It's a podcast today. It's day 83. Welcome back. We do a podcast every single day, and by we, I mean me. You know, one of these a day will keep the doctor away. Fuck off those apples. They're not doing shit for you. This, it's where it's at, man. It's where it's at, you know. When it comes to apples, are you a green apple or a red apple man? Ponder that. Ponder that. You know, and if you give anything other than sort of, you should want something sort of in the middle. I know, very on brand for me, but I like a mix. A little bit of greeny and reddy in there. But hey, how's everyone doing today, man? How you feeling? You feeling good? I think yesterday was a decent ep. Day before that, not so much. I would actually call it shit. Yesterday though, I think was pretty decent. We had okay topics, and we sort of went through those okay. Today, we're gonna be scraping bottom of the barrel, but I'm in a decent mood at the moment. Decent mood. And yeah, just feeling alright. I guess what has been going on? I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff online about, Mr. Beast, which weird name to give yourself, Mr. Beast. Like, I wonder what his logic was when he gave himself that name, like Mr. Beast. Like, I want to make a YouTube channel where I sit in my room and I count to 1 million and I watch It's Every Day, Bro, and repeat for 10 hours. What Mr. Beast? That seems pretty all-encompassing. Because that's what he was doing at the beginning. And now he, makes blind people. Now he's like Jesus, he's, turning water to wine or whatever. But gaining more backlash. As you do, you get more famous, you get more backlash. It's pretty normal. Is it warranted? No, obviously not really, everything, And I'm not a Mr. Beast fan. But even I can be like, it's not really warranted. It's just kind of like, you get to a certain level of fame, and then all of a sudden people will just think everything you do is shit. It's a classic thing, like when you donate money. Like, you could be in Forbes or something, and people are well aware of the fact you made 20 billion in a year. Let's just say, something extreme. Let's say you give £1 billion to charity. You would get backlash saying, you made £20 billion and you only gave 1/20th to charity. You only gave 1 billion when you made 20 billion. That's disgusting. And you get all this backlash, all this hate, right? But if you donated nothing, you'd get no hate. So you get less hate doing nothing. No one would be like, you wouldn't be trending. But the fact you gave £1 billion to charity is now generating hate over nothing. It's just like, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it goes. I mean, you're not entitled to give any of your money to charity. At all. You probably should, and if you're making extortionate amounts of money, so much that you don't even know what to do with, and it's like you might as well. But at the end of the day, also, it's not like you have to. And a lot of it is performative, and then there's the argument of whether it's performative or not performative. Does it matter? Like, if the money still is being given at the end of the day, so who really cares? And that's kind of the argument being thrown around with, Dr. Beast. And he should probably upgrade to Doctor now with the work he's been doing. And where I sit on the fence is not on the fence. I have a side, and I don't think he's doing it. I don't think he's doing it in a performative way for people to be like, look at him, he's so nice. I feel like I do lean more that he's doing it out of the goodness of his heart. I think he is. That being said, I think if the videos were doing say he did so he usually does a video like, hey guys, I've got 10,000 people and the last person to leave the room gets to keep the room, or whatever he fucking does, right? He was doing content like that, right? That was the content. And then he pivoted and started doing more like good deeds content, right? And I just feel like if he did because what was the most recent one he did? He did another one recently. He did the blind one, and then he did another one it was something along the same lines, right? And I feel like if that blind one he didn't perform that well on YouTube, say his usual videos are getting 20 mil, 50 million views or whatever, say that one did 6 million views, still a crazy amount of views to do in a week or something, if you just want to look at it like that. But compared to 50 million, it's like a stinker, 10 out of 10, right? As in, how it works. I just don't feel like he would continue on with that content. He'd be like, oh, it's not performing well, I'm not going to do it. You know what I mean? So I don't feel like he's doing it to look good. I think he is doing it because he wants to help, but at the same time, it's doing well, which is You know, Mr. Beast is someone who's always just came across like AI to me. Like he's a formula. He's like, I've worked out the best algorithm, and I've cracked the code, and I will put out the perfect content and thumbnail and blah 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 blah, and timing and pacing and fast takes to generate the highest number of possible views. And this just, so right now this good deed content just happens to fit into this algorithm that he's got going on that's working well for him and getting bare views. And I just feel like even if it got good views still but not as high, he wouldn't be doing it at the end of the day. And that doesn't mean he's bad. It doesn't mean he should be getting more or less, I'm using the quotation marks, cancelled on Twitter. Because it's bullshit. I've spoken about this before, but cancellation is just obviously cancelled is something for Netflix and other streaming services. It's not something that happens to people. You either commit crimes and then get incarcerated, or nothing. You know, cancelling is, I just believe it's just bullshit, really. And yeah, Mr. Beast is like, you know, I just think it's one of those things. He might still do good things in his own time. He maybe would have carried on doing his good deeds, just not making them videos. But yeah, I just think a lot of it is down to them doing well. He just comes across as sort of, there's no like, and it doesn't really matter, because I've found this a lot, is that it's just perception. There's a bunch of people I've already met in life where I think they don't come across as genuine to me. But like, that maybe has nothing to do with them. They might be the most genuine people in the world. They might be doing things with all the good intentions, but they just come across in a way that's just disingenuous. So like, to me, Mr. Beast comes across as like, I don't know, sort of hollow, kind of just like this smile but nothing really going on. Just kind of like everything is in service of getting views, and just like content goes or bad, lasts with people, actually has an impact, but whatever. Just wants to see the numbers, right? But that's just my perception of him. I also kind of think he probably does want to do this. He probably does, you know, genuinely care and all this other stuff. So I'm just like, I'm not going to go on Twitter and be like, I definitely know about this, because at the end of the day, who really cares? And why are you wasting your time? Like, it's just weird, man. Twitter is weird. It's like, what do you get out of doing this with your day? You know what I mean? Like, and whether, even if you're right, is it like a big enough deal for you to like be caring? Like, I remember once, I feel like only once have I ever made a tweet where people have replied to it. And if you want people to reply to a tweet, and this is the way Twitter works, you more or less, if you want like, what's the word? Like, you want interactions from a tweet, right? It's harder to get one on something that everyone agrees with. Like, it's harder to say something that everyone agrees with that hasn't already been said, or a joke that hasn't already been made. So it's harder to like get a tweet that blows up in that way, or to even say something funny, or do like something cool which hasn't already been done. But like, to say a controversial take is so much easier, and then all of a sudden you get like people being like, actually no, actually, and then all of a sudden you're in a Twitter argument of like probably a 14-year-old from Kent, some like African kids, you know, some like, you know, geezer from Stockport, some like fucking, you know, right wing kind of person, conservative from Texas. Then you're just like, all of a sudden you're arguing with people you'll never meet. Probably infant age, probably like OAPs. And you're just like, and you're just sitting there thinking, why am I like taking a step out of what I'm actually doing in my days? Like, go back on Twitter because I see a notification pop up and I've got to keep on this argument. And there is no winning. There's no winning. There's no like adjudicator. No one's going to be crowned as correct. And it's just a waste of time. It's weird. You know. And I'm someone who gets called argumentative, you know, by the people in my own life. But like, at least that's like in real life, and I know them. It's not like just random people. Yeah, like if I see something I don't agree with on Twitter, I'm more like to. And if it's something I really don't agree with, I still ain't fucking tweeting. I still don't fucking care that much, dude. Like, I've seen people say the craziest stuff on Twitter, or just film themselves doing the craziest stuff. But, you know, the sooner you learn, Twitter is just a sort of, it's got nuances to it that you kind of get or you don't get. And so much of it is bait, and so much of it is just sort of trolling, and so much of it is sort of, because, oh my God, when you watch TV and they just don't like understand what like trolling really is or how it's really even used. Like, oh, it's so cringy when you're watching a TV show and they try and implement it in because they're trying to be up with the times and do storylines on current things and be like, my daughter's being trolled in school by internet trolls, and it's just like, to them, they just write them like they're just basically people who's like just say mean names under, like, they'll post a picture and people comment mean things and then they'll be like, oh, they're just trolls. It's just like, it's not, I'm not going to waste time trying, because it's so like, I don't know, it's just like social media. And like the other day I was watching something on Twitch, which already is hard to explain to someone who hasn't grown up with Twitch, like an older person, because like, what are you, I don't get it. And it was like it was Jack's Films, and if you know Jack's Films content, you know it's like very specific, and like the jokes are very like, and he's like an older guy, he's like 30 something, you know, he's not like some Gen Z person, so it's not even a Gen Z thing, it's just like you either know it or you don't, you're either hip to it or you're not hip to it. And like he was sitting in there and he was doing like a reaction video where he's like kind of making fun of reaction videos while doing one, and it's like him, and he's got like there's 6 different versions of him, and one's like stuffing his face with popcorn, and the other one's like drinking really loud, and the other one's just sort of like burping, and he's like there talking like, oh, like making fun of reaction videos. And I just thought, like, if I was watching this on like the TV or something, and then someone came home and walked in and saw what I was watching, and I had to be like, and I was like, what are you? I could not explain it. It would be easier to explain porn, you know. It'd be like, at least that's like pretty black and white. Well, it depends if you're watching interracial, but it's pretty black and white to like what you're watching. You know what I mean? So like, oh, like it's awkward, but it's like, oh, I know what that is. Whereas this is just like, why are you watching 7 identical duplicates of a man watching a Fortnite clip? I don't get it. And it's just like, it's, you kind of just, there's too much things to explain. It's like, I can't really explain it to you. It's like, I remember I was watching this long video which was explaining NFTs and this whole like racist like undertone to it. I don't know if you've seen this video. It's like they're explaining all these things, and they're like, you kind of need to understand internet culture to a certain extent to even understand this video. Otherwise, you're gonna have to do like a bunch of, I'm just gonna say certain things and it will just wash over you. And it is kind of true. It also sounds kind of pretentious because they're trying to act like it's like an art form, or like it's a particularly hard thing to understand, like TikTok. But like, it low key is if like you've never seen it before. Like, you'll watch the jokes and you just won't. You know, where's the cats doing the falling off the staff? You just don't really, you know. But yeah. So that was one thing. Another thing. Am I gonna remember what the other topic was? Mr. Beast and someone else. I'm not. I mean, it was probably football related because that's most of the news I've been getting into my brain recently. Mason Mount not signing a new contract, which sucks. But a part of me, like, obviously wants him to stay, prove everyone wrong, get back in the team, be Chelsea captain or whatever, get his form back. And another part of me kind of just wants him to go to Newcastle. As I've gotten older, now I've realised when you love something, let it go. And I've started to feel that a lot more. Before, I was really like, no, I can't let my players leave, never, never, never. But now I'm kind of like, I still get a kick out of seeing them go to other places and then succeed. Tamori, Tammy Abraham, these types of players. So like, I would love it. I would low-key love it if he went to Newcastle, was sick for them. Like, the Geordies loved him. He wins a trophy for Newcastle and he's like captain of them in like a few years. And he's just like doing this thing. It would just feel so good for all these people. And you just guarantee, at first, everyone would just be like, Mason's found his level. He's at a smaller club. Which, by the way, Newcastle is a massive club. And they're basically on their way to becoming like a top 7 team. Because obviously, or a top 6, and maybe not. No, top 6. You can't just knock a team out of the top 6. Like, they will be more successful than Tottenham. But still, just become the top 7, probably. And he'll be a part of that, and all of a sudden Newcastle are like on the same level now as everyone else, and you can't use the argument, oh, he's found his level, that's why he's doing well, because he's above us in the league. Probably he'll be with Newcastle at some point. So I don't know, I just hope that goes on, and yeah, it's a shame, but you know, these things happen. But I think he'll come. I think he'll sign. I think he wants to sign. He wants to stay with the club. He's been here so long. You could tell he truly cares. He gets on the pitch sometimes. He's just so pissed off sometimes in the way he plays and like how he celebrates. You know, he cares the most about the club out of everyone in the club, I feel. And I think he wants to sign more than anything, but also he wants to feel wanted, which sounds like a bullshit way of just saying, give me more money. And at some point when you watch football and sport, you're kind of like, you get annoyed whenever you hear reports come out that a player wants more money, because you're just kind of like, be happy with what you get. You're already on so much. But you just got to think of it relatively speaking. And no matter what you're in, whether you're making £10 a week, whether you're making 10k a week, whether you're making 100 grand a week, it's like, compared to the other people around you and the work you've put in whatever job, you just want to feel like your work has actually been valued and it's been valued, and they're putting trust in you for the future. Because ultimately, you're expected to be so loyal to a club as a player, but then the second you're bad, you're dropped and they want to get rid of you within a year. Whereas with you, it's like you got to give them so much time and like this and that. It just kind of feels like, you know, bunch of baloney. But yeah, that's what I've emptied my brain today. I really haven't got much going on up here. You know what I mean? Like, all the thoughts I rattle around in here can literally be expelled within 15 minutes, and then it's empty. Needs recharging. So yeah, this was episode 83. I'll see you in 84.
Here with the kids, and had like 3 kids, and the geezer was probably on like maximum 20 bags a year. Like the most boring bloke you'll ever meet. He was like,